Hola, somos el Nacional. Un saludo para sopitas.com.
That is true. It was one of our first songs. It was called American Mary. But mainly we couldn't get a website, so because the National is too generic, like the National Car Rental, the National Basketball League. So we had to name our website something else, so we called it American Mary. And we thought it might be confusing if our website was different than our band name. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things we don't really talk about, but we kind of like it. AmericanMary.com. Go visit. You can imagine how I hate this graceless. The creators of Bob's Burgers are good friends of ours, and so it's kind of a joke. It's like I think they really like our band, and they think it's funny to mess with us, maybe. And also, we just think it's fun. So we make these Thanksgiving songs for them. Each Thanksgiving, we make a new song, and then they animate it, and it's just a funny thing. Yeah. But they're great guys, and it's a good show.
Yeah, we were up until then, and maybe even a little later. We all had jobs because we needed to have jobs because we weren't making enough money to survive. But we would go on tour. And eventually I got fired, actually, from my job. I used to teach music at a school, and they finally had enough of me. But Aaron used to pretend to be in his office when we'd be like driving on a highway in Germany, and someone would call, and he would pretend that he was in New York in his office.
Well, we actually talked about it. We had like a plan. At some point, we all had a plan, like, okay, we're going to leave our jobs on, November 1st, 2004, for example. I think that's actually close to when we were supposed to do it. But then Matt got so excited that he left his job like a year before that, and then he didn't have a job, and he was kind of like worried about it. But I don't know. We were lucky that we signed to Beggar's Banquet in 2004, and then we made Alligator. And by the time Alligator came out, we could kind of survive by touring, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard for bands to make money touring, and once you have, like, at our level, it gets easier, but it's always it's not like the safest thing, really, in terms of your job. Well, we were making Sleep Well Beast, and then Donald Trump, like, literally we were nearly done with Sleep Well Beast, and then Donald Trump was elected, and everybody just felt like it was like a national tragedy. It's a global tragedy. So it was almost like a world war started, even though it's not quite that. It's not like as obviously tragic, but there's something about it that felt like, oh my God, here we go. This is going to be really, really bad. So then it did become a big part of that record. And Turtleneck, I think that song is directly a kind of angry response. But there's also a lot of political, a lot of our songs have political content, usually woven into some other meaning as well. So there's like a love song, but it's also political. But yeah, I don't think none of us have really gotten over Donald Trump being president of the United States. So now it's just kind of like hoping that it'll end as soon as possible.
I think he's just a xenophobic, racist asshole, basically. Yeah. He picks on Mexico because it's popular with his right-wing voters.
And he's ignorant of Mexico. He doesn't actually know what Mexico is, or that it's there's more culture and history and art and just incredible things here than there are in the United States. He has no idea. Guarantee he's like totally ignorant of. Yeah, it's just a symbol for him. It's like any authoritarian dictator or underqualified politician who like thrives on hate. He's just looking at the easiest target for like how he can scapegoat people. And we have there is an issue with, but a lot of people in the United States are really love Mexico. It's like probably more than half the United States is. So, anyways, it's a sad thing. That's I think partly why we like coming here, because it's just amazing. It's like a beautiful, interesting place.
I mean, I think that for me, Mexico is like, there's very few cities that rival Mexico City. It's like Mexico City and Rome are the most historic, beautiful places that have just layers of civilization that date back so many centuries. And yeah, he's just not cultured. So I think for him to come and learn a little bit about history would be very important for him to appreciate how profoundly beautiful this place is, and all the great art and thinking that comes from Mexico, that without which our country wouldn't be what it is either. It's American culture, huge parts of it are defined by Mexico. Alicia Vikander had talked to Mike Mills, the director. They'd been speaking about doing a project. So for us, she was always the actress in the movie. But I wonder, one interesting thing is that she's a 30-year-old actress who played a baby and played a grandmother. You could have had a much older actress playing a baby, or a much younger actress playing so it could be interesting to see, what Meryl Streep would have done, or someone older or someone younger. It's a sign that someone loves me. I can hardly stand upright. In my head upon the light. I have faith but don't.
I think our sound, we feel like our sound changes from album to album, and I think some people don't agree with that because they hear Matt's voice and they hear Brian's drums and they hear our sense of harmony, and it's like feels related to what came before. But to us, I think I Am Easy to Find is just a really strong step in a different direction, where there's, for the first time, you hear other voices really in the foreground, as opposed to just backing vocals. And you hear these amazing female voices, and you hear the children's voices, and then you hear there's so much orchestration and kind of different ways of using sound on this record. So I listen to it, and it's the record I'm most proud of right now. It just feels, we kind of say like, oh, we like our band, not that we didn't like it before, but yeah, I don't know. But it's not like it. I think that the next record could be really different. It could just be the five of us playing in a room, because we would like to do that too. So I think a band should change and take some different approaches. Well, I think 20 years of being in a band, you've kind of lived. We've been through all the ups and downs together. Everybody's kind of had their moment of getting lost or having a serious crisis of one kind or another. Best thing, the biggest thing we've learned is just persistence, and that work ethic is important, so we don't give up, really. We're not, even when we have setbacks or there's a hard period, we sort of find a way to get through it, as opposed to, I think, a lot of bands, they burn out, or they sort of end up hating each other or something like that, and we've really tried really hard to work through those kinds of things. So but the power of the music, we're always amazed what happens to the songs, so we make these songs that we like, and then a couple years later there's like a sea of people singing them back to us, and it's just a total thrill, and we're really grateful for it. We don't take it for granted. So I don't know, what's the biggest lesson?
I think that we a band is like a relationship, and you have to trust each other, and we've fallen off the path at times, But for the most part, we believe in one another, and especially creatively, we trust each other, and that's what has gotten us to the point that we're at now. And so I think that's sometimes when things are hard, it's just you just don't give up. You try to trust the people around you, and whether it be your family or your relationships or whatever it is, it's good to see them through.